What's up, gang? I'm back at it again, and I have something exciting to share with you. There are two new indicators that I found that could be significant. Okay, let's just dig right into this and let me share with you what I found with these two new indicators. And I think I am going to have to pay TradingView for the pro account because I need to keep this stuff. I'm on the trial right now, but I have been digging into these two indicators for the past week, and I am barely just learning all about how they work and how these might be able to predict what projects might get pumped in the future and which ones are going to dump. All right, so let's get my good looking face off of the camera and jump right into the first chart and show you how this works. So we're looking at Bitcoin. We'll start with this so you can see what a decent project is supposed to look like. And then we'll run through the rest of my watch list and you tell me what you notice. So let's start out with the 1-day chart and zoom way out. And let's get Bitcoin since that all-time high of 20,000. And first, we're going to look at the accumulation distribution. This is a good one. What this is supposed to tell us is the sum total of how much money is flowing into or coming out of a project. In other words, they look at the buying pressure and the selling pressure, and it sums up the total of which one is being more aggressive. So from 2017, look what's happening to this accumulation distribution here on Bitcoin. It's just going up, up, and up. And even if we zoom in and get rid of the last major all-time high and just go to the one previously at 14,000, look what it's still doing. During the bear market and the dive to 3,000, barely a little bit of downward movement. We had a little bump here on the big dip. And what has it done since then? It's coming straight on up. So that's what it is supposed to look like. Now let's jump to the 4-hour, and I'm going to show you something else that I discovered. It's these little sidebars. That's called the volume profile. And this is a very intriguing indicator that I am still learning how to use. And if you are an expert at this indicator, chime in into the comments below. I want to learn from you. I might be teaching a few people some things in here, new tricks, but I'm definitely open to learning. And I'll tell you right now, I'll admit it. I don't know everything about this indicator, but I know enough to be dangerous. So what do we notice here on the 4-hour with these bars? What we see is a distribution of the volume, but it's according to the price level. So instead of the regular volume bars down here, like you see a big red arrow, you see all the green bars, we don't really know truly how to compare the volume from history to present, except for the height of these bars. But when we slap it up here on the side, we can look and see how much buying volume happened around this price range. See how the bars stick out here and then it comes down there? This is supposed to indicate the institutional buying, which represents the majority of price action on anything, crypto, stock market, Forex, you name it. Us little guys, we're anywhere from 5% to maybe 10%. Some say 20. I think it's around 5 to 10. And then these market makers or institutional buyers, they represent the bulk of the volume. Here's the thing. If we can figure out what the institutional buyers are doing and where they've loaded up, then we can follow and ride the bandwagon. It's best to not fight against the institutional buyers. So we have blue, which is selling volume, and gold, which is buying volume. So what we can notice here is there's a good amount of balance in between the buying and selling. And we see that there was a lot of activity of buying and selling along this 9,200, 9,300 is about the average. This point of the POC line, as it's called. This means that during this time period where the price is just going up and down, I believe that the smart money, the institutional buyers, are accumulating. And they do this slowly so they don't tip everybody off that there's going to be a run up. So then we jumped up to this next level. And now here's the price action at that next level. Now, during this section, we don't know if the accumulation was from buying or if it was from placing short sells. But whenever the price dips, we can tell that the institutional buyers up here were probably placing shorts. Why? Because when the volume dips down here at these price levels where they're not interested, we always see a slide. And we also see a pump after institutional buyers pump up the price. They set off the firestorm of suckers who buy in, and then the price shoots up. So here we are up here with lots of volume, and then down here. Well, let's zoom back out to the 1 day and just look where the majority of volume is happening. It's pretty evenly distributed. So we see lots of major buying volume that goes up to 10,000, but then notice how it tapers off above 13,000, 14,000. So during this time period that the run-up went to 20,000, you have the least amount of volume. What does that tell you? That was the people. That was the frenzy of us little guys who pushed that price up. And then the distribution came, and we had tons of selling that went on for a long time. So those insiders made a whole lot of profit as they probably short sold from here after accumulating and running this price up. All right, so that's the not on balance volume. That's a similar one. Accumulation distribution down at the bottom, and then the volume profile at the top. So what we're going to do now is run through and look at all the rest of my plays, and some of these might be your favorites. So let's see how they compare, how they're supposed to look now that we know what a project that we know will never go away looks like. And by the way, let me get rid of my good looking face again. I don't think Bitcoin is going to bomb. Let me show you why. If we just zoom in, since this accumulation, we see that heavy volume centered around the point of C. I forgot what it is. I can't think of it just because I'm recording. But anyway, I don't see us going much farther below, this 8,500 level because there's just too much volume here. And I think this accumulation was institutional buying. Up here, I think they were short selling and sucker punched us back down to here. This is what you call a shakeout. So I don't see Bitcoin going below this again. I don't. We might fill that CME gap and maybe languish in here in the 8,000s, but after that, it's going to get pushed back up because they're going to defend their positions here where they really loaded up. All right, enough of that. Let's look at XRP. So we know that XRP has the most haters of any project in the world, but let's just look at what they look like ever since, all time. Look at this. Okay, so lots of accumulation going on, and then it looked like the accumulation distribution went down, and then it shot up during the pump. But what happened after that? Did this come back down? Nope, it did not. In fact, it's rising to an all-time high. This is what you call a divergence. A divergence is when the price is going down, but the accumulation is going up. That's a signal. So there are some people that were saying XRP is going to bomb, and it's a pump and dump, and it's going to go back down to 3 cents. I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm not a believer in that. Here it is, right here. Here's the major dump. It goes down. And then we had this big spike up right here that coincides with this. And then during the rest of the time period of this distribution, what's going on with the accumulation distribution? It's moving up. That's a divergence, folks. So I feel pretty comfortable about my XRP bag right now. As we zoom in, this is on the 1 day. Let's look at the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, since the big run up, and look at this. Look at the distribution around the price of 29 cents. The bulk of the buying is up here. So do you think if the bulk of this buying is up here, and this is probably institutional buyers, and here's the next chunk right around 24 cents, do you really think that they're going to sit and let this go down to 3 cents? I don't think so. I've heard some calls for 15 cents. I don't believe that because there's still too much purchasing volume that's around this 22 cents level in the 24. So I see XRP as sitting pretty. I'm feeling good about it, and I'm going to add to my bag. All right, let's move on down the line. Let's go back to the 1 day. DNT, District 0X. This is one of my favorite projects, and it doesn't look good on this chart. I hate to say it. The only good thing about this chart is I bought at 0.007, which is somewhere around the average, the point of concentration, it'll hit me before the end of the video. This distribution here is troubling. But if we zoom in a little bit and go to the 4-hour, it's still going down. We still have a lot of concentration around this 8 cents level, which makes me feel better because I don't think it's going to dump below my entry point of 0.0078. So that's looking pretty good. As we zoom into the 1 hour, what's happening right now is this looks better. The accumulation is going up. So on the micro, we're looking good. And we're at 10 cents or 1 cent. I don't see this going below that level right now. And it might be a while before we see a move up because in the short term, there's not a lot of buying volume that is above this 1 cent level until you zoom back a little bit. But this was a lot of selling going on too. So, all right, let's move it right on down the line and look at Lind. Lind is pretty interesting. This is the one that I owned back in 2017 and then I got rid of it. And in 2018, it hit an all-time low of 0.004. And of course, now I'm slapping myself because we're sitting up here. All-time high of around 90 cents, and it's right now at 69 cents. Notice the volume. Heavy volume back here. It's not as big now, but notice this accumulation distribution is going straight up. Look at the, by the way, look at the stochastic. It's pointing straight up. This thing is going up, folks. So I think that if we get a correction in this, the bulk of the volume is around 30 cents. That's the only saving grace. If we get a correction that comes down to 57 cents, we might slide through here towards 40, but that may not happen. It might hit this 57 again at this ring and shoot on up. There's the rings that I have. This is a fib circle set that's based on the time frame from July the 27th all the way up to August the 18th. And it's been pretty magical. We rode this line all the way down. We're moving up, and I'm hoping it rides down to around this level, and I might have to jump in because Lind looks strong. Okay, moving right along. LOOM doesn't look too good. This is another one of the projects that I am in. I bought somewhere around 2.2 cents, so I'm looking pretty. It's still above the bulk of the buying volume, but this accumulation distribution doesn't look so hot. If we zoom in, it looks even worse with a lot of distribution here and not a lot of accumulation. So, oh well, we'll see. Let's go back to the 1 day and keep it moving. Gollum, it's okay. If you zoom way out, the accumulation distribution follows the price line. So there's nothing right home about that. I don't see a major divergence. But we do see that the stochastic is way oversold. So this might dip. If we get down into this volume, this low volume, we might slide. We could slide down here to this previous lump of institutional buying. And after that, it's probably going to go up. Let's go to the 4 hour. Stochastic is moving up on the 4 hour. And accumulation distribution does not look good. Okay, so I'll just have to keep my eyes on that. I'm not going to buy into that project until I see this move up. All right, next, Ethereum. This is one that should look good, and yes, it does. Let's just look at, history of it here. Just like Bitcoin. Look how this accumulation distribution just keeps on the rise. Bam. Zoom in. Let's go in a little bit. Look at the bulk of the volume. This bulk up here around the 395 price is pretty heavy. You got another solid one at 431, which tells me we're probably not going to go back down much further below this 300 line. I don't see it happening. Stochastic is very low, so this means on the day chart it's very low. So I'm thinking within the next month we're going to have a pretty solid and strong move upward. Let's look at the 4 hour. Woo, stochastic is peaking, which we might get a little bit more of a dip. Like I was saying, on the 1 day, it looked like we could go into the low 300s. Accumulation distribution is looking good, though. All right, let's move it right along to my next favorite project, which is Key, Self-Key. Looks terrible. Ooh, accumulation distribution says dump, dump, dump city. And the bulk of the buying has been at the 0.001 level. Let's look at the 4 hour. Zooming in, it still looks bad. Very bad. If we zoom in, the only saving grace is I bought in on this. I'm thinking at 0.0022. So I'm above the current price. but there's still a lot of bulk of institutional buying that leads all the way up to 4.5, 0.0045. So that's helpful, but I think with this stochastic about to cross over, we're going to see a little bit more of a dip in price, maybe down to 0.002, which I'll probably just jump on some more of this just to do it. If we go to the 1 hour, it looks even worse. Accumulation is bad. Stochastic is bad. All right, enough of that. Let's just move on. I'm still gambling on it. You got to gamble on something, right? All right, next project, MFT mainframe. Not too bad on the overall with accumulation distribution seeing a big dump here. However, with the spike, we did come down with this downward movement here as the price is currently at 0.0019. But look at these two big fat volume blocks that are above the current price. That's encouraging. Now, there is a chunk that's a little bit below, but I don't see it going much below where we are right now. Let's zoom into the 4 hour. 4 hour stochastic is on the rise while price is not rising as much. That could be a divergence, which could say we could slip a little bit, but accumulation is moving up. So I'm proud of mainframe, and I've got a small bag of that, which I'll be shooting a video on that. Another edition of I've Got a Bag. All right, so moving on to Mana. I was going to jump on this, and now I'm not, because looking at the history of it, no. It's just sailing straight downward into a divergence after this price spike. And stochastic is low, but how much higher is it going to go? I mean, it might push back to 10 cents. But looking at the 4 hour, accumulation distribution is still weak, and we're about peaked out on stochastic in the overbought zone, which means it could slide down yet again. All right, enough of that one. I'm not going to buy into that project. CVC, I like this little wallet project. I haven't bought into it yet. Overall, it kind of had a big pump and dump, but at least the accumulation is above the history, and we have a nice lump of volume here. Is centered around the 0.45 level. So when we zoom into the 4 hour, accumulation looks bad. I'm not ready to buy into this. This could get worse. Okay, and it looks even worse on the 1 hour. See how that helps? These things that I'm on the fence, when I look at the accumulation distribution, it looks like it's going down. I'm not buying in. All right. TOKO, big popular project. This is somewhat of a divergence. Price slides down, accumulation distribution kind of holds. Stochastic has dipped down into oversold, and it's moving up into the neutral territory. We got a big chunk of institutional volume around 0.015. So I'm still considering this one. I wish it would get on the Binance exchange. I'm probably not going to jump on this until it gets on Binance. DOT, the popular DOT. This is pretty interesting. Big spike on accumulation distribution. It goes down with the price. It's going back up. Stochastic is at a low. It looks like a crossover has happened. DOT's probably going to move up. Nothing really to write home about this. I've got DOT, and I'll probably still be accumulating. Nothing to scare me away from that with these new indicators. Let's look at LYXE. Who likes like? It's looking good on this chart. There's a huge fat chunk of institutional buying all the way from 80 cents to $1.60. I don't see it dropping down below this level because we're down at the bottom on the Stoke. You see that? At the bottom, accumulation distribution is strong. So if this was weak and if this was down here, then I could say we could hit this bottom area, and as soon as you hit into this zone here, that's when you could have a slide down to your next chunk of where your volume was. But we're holding strong, so I don't see it sliding down into there. We should see another leg up on LYXE. Moving right along, IOST. I'm liking what I'm seeing here on the 1 day chart. It's just moving up. We got a nice spike here with this spike. It coincides with the price, so there's nothing to scare me away from it. And the bulk of the volume is centered around 0.006. I'm in on this one at 0.0069. I wanted to buy down here at 0.045. I'm waiting for one more dip. If it gets down to this 0.005 level, I'm going to load the wagon. I like what they're getting into with the DeFi direction. So we'll see. All right, let's keep it moving to Link. Chainlink looks good. Stochastic looks like it could take another leg down. If it corrects again, we could go down here to this center point, the point of You know what? I'm not going to be able to think of it before the end of this video. Will somebody please tell me what it is? I'm just drawing a blank. At any rate, this tells me if we drop down below the $11 level again, we could take a slide down here to 966, and then we could take another slide back into the 7 range. But overall, Chainlink is looking good. Lots of accumulation is going on the 1 day. Looking at the 4 hour, boom, looking very strong. Accumulation is going up. So even if we get to the top of the stochastic and the price slides as we go into oversold, it's still looking strong. I'm proud of it. Now, here's another one that people love to hate, and it's Tron. Say what you want about Tron, but look at the history of this. Tell me why Tron looks like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Would you look at this? That's amazing. Taking it all the way back to 2018, September. Look at that accumulation distribution. Bam. Look at this solid chunk of buying from 1.5 all the way to like 3. Let's zoom on in. It's still moving up. Let's hit that 4 hour. It's still moving up very, very strong, and we've got a divergence. While the stochastic was in oversold, while the price was diving back down after this pump, accumulation distribution was strong, and it was moving up. Okay, that tells me that we are not going to slide and revisit these prices around 2.5 cents, but we're probably going to see another move up after this stochastic cycle completes. I look for a return to around 3 cents, and then it's going to pump again. Moving right along. FMT? FTM? I don't know. This looks bad. I have a bag of this. Actually, it's okay on the overall. I'm okay with this. And this one I bought into for the staking reward of the 30% on the 1 year. So we're okay. That's on the 4 hour. Looking at the 1 day history after getting dumped here, it's been accumulation ever since. So it's looking strong. Digibyte does not look good, but there's no trading data. There's not enough history on this chart on Binance for us to get a good clue, but it is bouncing back. When you look at the 4 hour, does not look good. Let's look at the 1 hour. All right, the 1 hour looks a little bit better, but the bulk of this buying caps out at around, the 2 cents of recent. I don't see it moving anywhere anytime soon, and this is one of my favorites. Let's just run through the rest. RSR, I'm not impressed too much, even though over time it's getting accumulated since this big dip. But when you jump in on the 4 hour, it's not looking as pretty with this bulk of buying down here, and it looks like it could take another dip down as the stochastic is crossed over. Once we hit into this zone down here and complete the cycle, we might slide if the price doesn't hold at 1.6 cents. If it gets into this area here, we could see it sliding down to 1.1. All right, Ocean looks ugly, and I know a lot of people like that project. OXT, I have a bag. It's not bad. It's not bad. Let's look at the 1 day. Over history, it looks terrible, but when you zoom in to the 4 hour, it looks like not too good unless you go way out after this peak. So after this obvious dumping that's going on, the bulk of the buying volume is up here centered around 50 cents, which tells me we're safe. It's going to probably crawl back up to this because there's at least this medium amount of accumulation going on, and we have not returned to the previous lows. SNT is not looking good. I'm not going to spend much time on this one. It's just too up and down and of recent on the 4 hour. I'm going to wait until SNT gets back down into this lower price chunk here. If it can dip down to the 2.5 cents maybe, and we're not far from that, we're going to have to see a rise on this accumulation distribution before I'll jump in. VET is another popular one. And tell me again, why is it that VET, when you zoom out, is looking like Ethereum and Bitcoin? This is looking like a good project. So I'm actually waiting to get a bag on VET. Let's jump into the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, since this peak, there's a big chunk down here. And if we zoom out a little bit more, we see another chunk that is centered around the 0.009. If we corrected that, I'm all in. I don't know if it'll make it down there. Stochastic is still peaking, so we could take a down cycle and it might get us back to that price. Okay, enough of VET. I like VET. I'm going to jump in on that. And ANKR, not bad. It's looking like accumulation is going on, but the price being at 0.0079, I see too big of a chunk way down here in the 0.002, 001. But we are at the oversold point of the stochastic. So let's zoom in on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, ooh, okay, it's not looking so hot. We might have to wait on that a little while and see if more institutional accumulation is going on, because a lot of this might be more selling than buying. Oh man, I've been talking for 20 minutes. I need to shut my mouth. Well, thanks for watching. Like I said, if you know more about the volume profile, please post in the comments if you can teach me a few things about this, because I still have several questions about it. And let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you think the accumulation distribution is a good indicator. And let me know also if one of your favorite projects wasn't on this list and you want to see what it looks like with the volume profile and the accumulation distribution. That's all I got. This is Carlton, the Crypto Pro. See you next time.